All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a cold case that seemed absolutely impossible to solve. The disappearance of a millionaire candy heiress. We're talking about a crime with no body, no witnesses, and a seemingly rock-solid alibi. But what happens when the law itself becomes the detective? Stick around because we're going to unravel the incredible story of how a unique legal strategy, one actually designed for the mob, finally cracked this perfect crime.
Wow, that quote really says it all, doesn't it? Back in 1977, in the super elite world of Chicago's high society, something happened that would turn into one of the city's biggest, most baffling mysteries. The candy heiress Helen Brach, just gone.
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we've got to start with the victim herself, Helen Brach, a woman whose incredible fortune, it turns out, made her the perfect target for some very bad people.
$20 million. Let that sink in for a second. That's what Helen Brach was worth back in 1977. She was this quiet, kind of reclusive heiress to a massive candy fortune. On February 17th, she went to the famous Mayo Clinic for just a routine checkup. And that was the last time anyone ever saw her. She checked out of the clinic, but poof, she never made it home.
So right away, the investigation just hits a brick wall. There's no body. There's no ransom note. Not a single witness. It was as if she had literally vanished off the face of the earth. For years, everyone called it the perfect crime. It left even the most experienced detectives totally scratching their heads.
So how does a case like that go cold? Well, to figure that out, we have to pull back the curtain on the very exclusive and, as it turns out, very dangerous world that Helen Brach had gotten herself into, the glamorous society of Chicago's horse country.
Now, on the surface, you see this world of high society, right? $1-million homes, elite horse shows, the whole 9 yards. But underneath all that polish, something really dark was going on. Investigators would eventually give it a name: the Chicago Horse Mafia.
And right at the center of this whole sordid affair was a guy named Richard Bailey. He was known as the Golden Tongue because he had this incredible knack for charming lonely, rich women right out of their money. And his whole game plan? It was as simple as it was just cold-blooded. When someone asked how he could stand sleeping with his victims, he had this chilling answer: I just shut my eyes and think about money.
Now, Bailey didn't work alone. One of his main guys was this character named Tommy Burns. And get this, they called him the Sandman. Why? Because wherever he went, a very expensive show horse would mysteriously go to sleep for good, all so the owner could cash in on a huge insurance policy.
Okay, so we've got a charming con man, we've got a ruthless horse killer, but what's the connection to Helen Brach? Well, it turns out she was Bailey's biggest target, his ultimate score.
You see, for years, Bailey had this chilling nickname for Helen Brach. She was his golden goose. But that goose was about to stop laying those golden eggs. She started getting suspicious and hired an expert who told her exactly what she feared. The horses she'd spent a fortune on from Bailey were basically worthless. When she confronted him, she wasn't just threatening to expose one little scam. No, she was about to bring his entire house of cards crashing down.
And the initial investigation was, well, a total bust. Think about it. Without a body, they couldn't even prove a murder happened. Their main suspect had a story that was shaky but impossible to break. And the guy with the biggest motive, Richard Bailey, he had a seemingly airtight alibi with receipts and everything, showing he was hundreds of miles away in Florida. For more than a decade, the case just sat there, collecting dust.
So for years, nothing. The case just gathers dust. The break, when it finally comes, isn't from some new witness or a surprise fingerprint. Nope. It comes from the law books, from a powerful federal law originally created to fight organized crime.
But here's the million-dollar question, right? How in the world can you prosecute a crime from 1977 in the 1990s? The statute of limitations for murder, that's the legal time limit to bring charges, had run out years before. By any normal standard, the killer was home free.
The answer, the secret weapon, was something called the RICO Act. And this law completely changes the game. It allows prosecutors to go after an entire criminal organization, not just one single isolated crime.
And this is the perfect way to understand the difference. Think about it like this. A normal prosecution is like going fishing with a single line, hoping to catch one specific fish. But RICO RICO is like throwing a giant net over the side of the boat to catch the entire school. It's not about one crime, it's about proving a whole pattern of criminal activity.
And this timeline here, this is the genius of it all. See, Richard Bailey was a creature of habit. He just couldn't stop being a con man, and he kept committing fraud well into the 1990s. Those new crimes were the key. They gave prosecutors a legal hook to leap backwards 17 years and connect his modern-day scams to the old conspiracy to murder Helen Brach. It was an absolutely brilliant legal move. All right, so the prosecutors have their weapon, this incredible legal tool. But now they needed a key. They needed someone on the inside to turn that key and unlock the whole conspiracy, to break that wall of silence in the horse mafia.
And who was that key? None other than Tommy the Sandman Burns. He got caught red-handed killing another horse for insurance, and he knew he was looking at serious prison time. So, to save his own skin, he sang like a canary. He told the feds everything they needed to know.
And the result? It was an absolute bombshell. This wasn't just about Bailey anymore. 23 people got swept up in this, from the top guys all the way down to horse trainers, owners, even veterinarians. The indictments just blew the lid off the whole glamorous facade of horse country. And that airtight alibi Bailey had been hiding behind for almost 2 decades, it was about to evaporate. With the full power of a federal investigation, they dug up old phone records, thanks to technology that just wasn't really a thing back in '77, and proved Bailey was lying. He wasn't in Florida. He was in Chicago, right around the time Helen Brach went missing.
So fast forward to 1995. After 17 long years, the man who thought he'd gotten away with a perfect crime finally had to face the music.
And here's the most incredible part. They still had no body. But it didn't matter. The prosecutors had built a mountain of evidence showing that Bailey ran a criminal enterprise, that he had the motive, and that he had solicited her murder. That wild, audacious RICO strategy, it had actually worked.
The sentence came down 30 years in federal prison. For a 65-year-old man, that was a life sentence. The golden tongue who had conned his way through life was silenced for good, destined to die behind bars.
So in the end, the law did its job. Justice was served, at least in a legal sense. The RICO Act proved that maybe no crime is ever truly perfect. But it couldn't bring back the victim. And it leaves us, all these years later, with that one final haunting question that to this day has never been answered.